airstrike is basically an event where wildlife, whether it's a bird, a bat, even ground-dwelling organisms occasionally, come into contact with a plane. It can cost lives in extreme cases and also very expensive to aerodrome and aircraft operators.
So we work very closely here at the Australian Museum with the aviation industry, where different types of airports will send samples across to us, and we then perform genetic analyses on those samples to determine what species are actually involved in an aviation airstrike.
Quite often what you'll get in the wake of a bird strike event is just it was a bird, which from a management perspective is not terribly useful. So this is an example of some of the biological material that we can get after an airstrike event. So this is a bird talon that was recovered from the engine of a plane. It's been sent to us for DNA-based species ID. We can sequence those genes and then we can compare them to a database of known sequences to work out what animal has come into contact with that aircraft. So the more you understand about what animals are coming into contact with aircraft, the more you can develop tailored management strategies.
Our aviation airstrike stakeholders can design or adopt a number of management practices that will reduce the occurrence of wildlife airstrike.
The reference database that we use is primarily derived from the Australian Museum's own collection, which has been validated by world-renowned experts in taxonomy.
Because we've been performing airstrike analysis for quite a few years here at the Australian Museum, we have a very well curated list of DNA sequences which we can then use for that analysis.
So in these minus 80 degrees Celsius freezers, we have upwards of 100,000 samples of frozen tissue.
So I think everybody's favorite bird, the ibis or the bin chicken, is actually a perfect example. Ibis prefer to forage in open environments. They're not fans of long grass. So simply by growing the grass around airports longer, you can discourage ibis from feeding in the vicinity, and then that mitigates the risk of them striking planes.
It's estimated that wildlife airstrike costs the aviation industry upwards of $1.2 billion US annually.
Over the years, we are noticing a significant uptick in the demand for our services.
Presently, we analyse around 200 samples per year. There are several aspects that really stand us apart.
We work with a really wide variety of stakeholders. Our Wildlife Airstrike Species ID service is a perfect example of how museum science can be used to solve issues in the real world. We're uniquely placed to do this kind of work because we have not just experts in analysing DNA, but we also have a world-renowned collection of physical specimens. We can identify most animals coming into contact with planes much more accurately than what would be possible using publicly curated databases.
The Australian Museum Research Institute solves real-world problems.
Based on our conversations with stakeholders, there is a clear demand for our services.
We need to prepare for expansion as new industries come to Australia, such as wind farms.
And with additional support, we'll really be able to unlock those capabilities.